that's what helps me out of rage is patience.
Well, we even talked about in that last little pranayama segment, right? Like if I called you a poop face.
Yeah, you need patience.
The rage is the first thing you feel.
Of course.
But patience is taking the pause, taking the 10 breaths. That's waiting. That's being patient.
That's how you win.
Right?
It's fucking beautiful. Patience. And all I do is win, right? So now I'm working on
that.
So I like that. Whoa. Breakthrough for myself. Let's rewind it.
On the mic breakthrough.
Instead of me perpetually saying I'm working on my anger, I'm going to now start saying I am working on my patience. That is beautiful.
That's nice. Now you're focusing on the patience.
Patience is the win. You ain't got to worry about the sin. The Bridge Podcast, back again. I'm your host, Sean Nixon.
Jonathan Matthew.
How are you feeling today, man?
Today's question for you.
It's a beautiful day to be alive. I like questions. That's how you learn.
Question for you. Favorite day of the week?
Right now, probably Monday.
Mondays.
Yeah, because we get to record.
You get a case of the Mondays
back
in a good
at
way.
it. Oh, dude. I got a case of the Mondays big time. Because here's the deal. I used to work a real job for the longest time, and all it was doing was getting enough money to buy drugs and beer and pay the bills and pizza for the weekend.
Sean was working for the weekend.
Every time, right? So Friday night was just getting wasted until Monday morning, and then on Sunday evening, mid-afternoon, you just get that fucking feeling. Fucking, it ruins your whole Sunday night because you're just worried about Monday. That same good feeling.
One weekend, but that you'd spent that one weekend just going nuts. You didn't even like be present for it.
You weren't present at all.
Spent Sunday recovering. And then
Friday, you're all excited. You're gonna fucking drink 19 beers tonight, whatever. And now I love Sunday night. I'm like a fucking tough day. I'm
getting
like,
ready for Monday.
Excited.
New week, baby.
And that's the difference between working for yourself and doing what you love with your passion and your purpose versus working for the weekend to pay the bills in this debt slavery cycle that is the Matrix. Like you're a slave and you don't even really realize it. Because like we always talk about it. Right. Pay to live on the planet. The only
animals that pay to live on the planet that we're actively destroying.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It's kind of hilarious.
It bothers me. Oh, it's hilarious.
Just kill all the other animals.
Kills me. So that's the thing. We operate within the Matrix and play the games within the games. Watch sports, watch movies, buy things. Like, I got an Amazon account. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. Yeah. They're not the fucking best company, and so are so many other best companies. And some companies I choose not to vote with my dollar for and don't support them. But point being is I'm aware of games within the game.
Yeah.
And that everything is a game. And we talked about the 80-20 rule of 80% you're working on yourself and you are a sovereign, independent, spiritual being trying to find yourself and your authentic truth and your purpose and heal yourself and ascend into 5D and have a good time, right? And learn lessons across your soul's journey. But 20% of the time, cakes and candies and movies and fucking alcohol and sports and
Twitter,
whatever you like.
Social media.
Right. Pill popping and scrolling and whatever. Right? So
balance. That's the balance, right?
That's
I think
the balance.
David Hawkins' The Power versus Force, when he maps out like the map of consciousness, like the levels where he talks about like the shame and going up to God consciousness, right?
Yeah.
He mentions in that like the planets that are about like on a scale of 0 to like 1,000 potentially, like we're on like a 200. And like there's like that much
a vibrational scale.
There's that much negativity that like one person, it's kind of like it's kind of the opposite of 80-20. There's like 20% of the people pulling up 80% of us.
That's exactly
slack,
right. As far as the collective consciousness,
versa, right?
As far as the collective consciousness of human beings,
you think of like, these great individuals, and like the masses are all the ones like.
So you're saying like 80%. Sleeping sheep that don't know they're slaves, and 20% of us
unaware and
that are
20%
awake, to the fact that
there's probably like a gray area because like, I guess
there's levels of awakenness.
Yeah, because there's probably like a 1%, honestly. That's
yes,
like your Jesus' Buddhists that are actually like carrying the team on their back. Really?
I really think right. That's the polarity once again of the 1% evil.
Yeah.
Powers that be at the top, the 1% of billionaires that are scumbags pulling the strings, and then the 1% of awakened, ascended masters, like you said, your Jesus, your Buddha, your Yogananda, what have you.
Yeah.
But I like that. So that's the 1% polarity on both sides. The spiritual beings that have incarnated and ascended, and then there's the 1% of the evil powers that be, and then the 80-20 rule of the citizens in between.
Yeah, and it's like the interesting thing is as there is a shift between like becoming more aware, you get to that 50-50 point. That's
the tipping point,
and that's where I feel like we've been stuck. I feel like
we are,
because that's duality. That's 50-50, right? When we need to get to 80-20 and we have to go one way or the other, but we're so used to being stuck within the duality that it makes sense to just be here at that middle point.
Yeah.
But that's not the balance point. The middle's not the balance point, right?
Yep.
It's like that eagle that you put in your fingertip. Like half it's hanging off your finger, but that 20% on your finger is the balance point, right?
Yeah,
so it's kind of finding that spot.
And that's the rest of us. That's 20% of us that are aware that everything they teach you in school is not necessarily true. 99% of this shit on TV is not true. Your body can heal itself magically. So 99%, not 100%, 99% of pharmaceuticals are useless. Yeah. Not useless in this sense because it has saved people, but it's because they made you sick in the first place to sell you some shit.
Yeah.
And once you're aware of that, then we can tip the scales to eventually
that first step towards change, right? So you got to be aware to even begin to understand that there is change needed, you know?
I like that. I like those round numbers. So 1% ascended masters, 1% evil powers that be, and the rest of us are on the 80-20 rule.
Kind of shifting back and forth in between and working in different directions, right? So
and that's why it's like, but once again, it's just your job to raise your vibration, and that goes out into the collective consciousness, meaning the 20% can't yell at the sleeping sheep slaves and put them down. It lowers your vibration, and you're just on the same level as them. But it's also not your responsibility to wake them up, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's everything's happening exactly the way it's supposed to.
Perfect, always.
Because like there's the
but you can do your job.
Yeah, and that's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't tell anybody to change. No one ever got awoke because someone told them to become awake. It's all internal, right? Like you're awakening.
Well, you can lead by example.
Exactly, right? And so that's inspiration, right? Versus motivation, right? Because motivation, is just
willpower. Shine your light, do your work, heal your wounds, and then follow your path of your authentic self and your purpose.
Yeah,
and shine your light.
It's planes going in. The world's going into a nosedive, right? You get your oxygen mask first, so you can breathe. Pranayama.
That's it.
A little time there, right? You get your own breath, and then you can say to everybody else.
And the brighter your light shines, the more darkness is exposed. I like that.
The more you understand the darkness, the more your light can shine. Right?
Well, that's how you heal your stuff, is facing the shadow with your light. Loving the shadow.
Yeah, what's the object that's creating the shadows, which you got to study, right? And that's
scary, spooky stuff. But we're not getting into that today.
It's like spooky in the sense, it's like a spooky in the.
But it's everything. It's facing your fears.
Yeah, it's
like
right.
It's
like skydiving. If you're afraid of it, well, you've done it. But I know you're still afraid of it. But it's like it's very terrifying. But you did it. You got out of the plane, and maybe it wasn't the best experience, but you definitely learned something about yourself from that experience.
Sure, and that. Sean is long dead anyway. Yeah. That person at that time.
Yeah, how long ago was that?
About 10, more than 10 years. More than 10 years. More than 10 years. Oh, completely different.
So now you'd probably be flying like an eagle. Maybe no.
Still not about it.
Still not about it.
I'm good on the ground. When I do my travel, it's not with my body. My body stays on the ground, and I travel.
You skydive in your third.
Yes.
Astral skydiving.
Astral skydiving.
Whoa.
TM Circle C. Trademark registered, circle,
copyright,
little R, copyright. Okay, so we've broken down some meditation. We've broken down some breath work. Now we're here to explain to you the series of 7. Okay, the 7 series. 7 is a magic number. 7 is a lucky number. Why? I don't know. We're going to find out. 7 is a significant number throughout ancient history, religious texts, and as you're about to find out, we don't believe in coincidences here on the bridge. That's the thing.
Don't be connected.
Everything is connected. Everything happens for a reason. There are no coincidences, and everything is connected. So we're going to run you through just an intro and overview of how many things just happen to be, and not just random things, important things in the universe and on Earth have to do with the number 7 and how it lines up.
Lucky number 7. I think most people... When they've done different polls, people's favorite number is 7 because it's associated with this luckiness, this magical number 7.
Magic.
jackpot numbers 7.
Magic.
Right?
So, first and foremost, there's a 20-something chakra system, and then there's the real 12 chakra system that expands out into the galaxy and the universe. But we're talking about the 7 chakras within your body.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got 7 chakras. You might think that's nonsense, but guess what? They line up exactly with the 7 glands of the endocrine system. Yeah. What? So you have Eastern mysticism and Western modern science all lining up, bridging together. Okay? It is also not a coincidence that the frequency of each one of those chakras lines up with the 7 musical notes. There's only 7 musical notes. There's 7 chakras. Each one of them corresponds with a specific vibration and frequency of that musical note. Same with colors.
Spectrum of colors.
There's only 7 colors in the rainbow. The light spectrum, right? So what? Black is the absence of color. White is pure light.
Pure light, yeah.
And then there's 7 colors of the rainbow, which is the light spectrum. Okay, and you've the Roy G. Biff from fucking kindergarten. Yeah. It's not a coincidence that the root chakra is red, and then it goes up from there: orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. They even made the acronym in order. Come on, guys. 7 chakras, 7 glands in the endocrine system that secrete your hormones and some neurotransmitters that help you feel things along with the nervous system. 7 musical notes, because as you'll see, everything is vibration. It literally says that's the Sanskrit translation. Sanskrit translation in the Bhagavad Gita is everything is sound or everything is vibration. And shit. Like literally, even matter.
Light is a vibration.
Light is a vibration.
The color spectrum is vibration. The musical notes are vibration.
I was just reading that in this Palladian's book that I'm reading, where it's like sound and light are pretty much the same thing. You think they're different because you perceive one with eyes and one with ears, but once you're a 5th dimensional being and you're kind of translucent and you're not using the 7 holes in your face,
just energy.
7 holes in your face, ears, eyes,
face
nose,
holes.
And mouth. It's just energy, exactly, and vibration. So you kind of.
So some people can hear colors.
Bro, you just fucking wizarded me again. Yeah. That's synthesia and stuff like that. Exactly. You can see the corresponding colors to musical notes.
Because they exist already. Isn't you seeing something that's not there?
No, magical shit. It's there.
That it's actually there.
You're just tapping into it. So artists, specifically musical artists, but painters as well, can see, feel colors and music in the corresponding musical notes. Just to name it, I mean, Miley Cyrus talked about it a little bit. Kanye West talked about it big time. Beethoven had it.
A few painters.
Bunch of painters. Like
your little niece has a little
bit. She's a wizard. A witch, if you will.
Yeah.
Like documented. It's called synthesia. You can hear, see, and feel colors.
Yeah. Where you can
feel colors. And sometimes you taste.
Sometimes taste too. So all the senses that we think are separate are actually just different ways to perceive the same sense.
That's it. Yeah. So that's why it's important, okay? And then, speaking about important, spirituality over here, religion over here, science over here, whatever. There's 7 laws of the universe, okay? So the first, we just talked about, the law of vibration.
Good vibrations.
Everything is energy, okay? We'll take it to, we just talked about the Bhagavad Gita, Hinduism and whatnot. Everything is sound, everything is vibration. Albert Einstein, E equals MC squared. Energy equals matter, the speed of light squared, right? Therefore, energy and matter are on an equal playing field.
Yeah.
That means this desk, your feelings, this light, some sound, some emotion, some thought is all energy.
To go down to your phone is all energy.
What you can touch, smell, see, and hear is less than 1/millionth of reality. There's Wi-Fi, there's X-rays, there's gamma rays, there's thoughts, feelings, emotions.
Yeah, when we think everyone in their own lifetime thinks they're so sure of their own reality, but then we look back at people 100 years ago and like, oh, wow, they didn't know shit.
Morons.
Look at the people.
They didn't even have a light bulb.
People 100 years from now are going to be like, oh, shit, they're dumb as fuck.
Yes, that's the point.
In 2021, right?
Wow. We already are seeing that split.
Yes.
A lot of the ignorance and naivety of a lot of people. Not even viruses and vaccines and all that, just in general. Oh, that's what you think all the truth is?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's educated people as well. They think they're better than somebody because they went to an Ivy League university
what
or
is
something.
Education, right? That's...
That's the thing.
What do you learn? What are you being educated in?
Only what you're being taught.
Because some people are educated only in Scientology.
That's the point.
That's an education, right?
Right. But not the broad spectrum of knowledge.
Yeah, that's all awareness is. When you have expanded awareness or higher consciousness, it's being aware of everything simultaneously. Right?
Yeah.
So it's just that pure awareness. So nothing seems separate. Nothing is the only thing. I don't have blinders on. I see everything as it is. And when you can see everything as it is, you start to see the patterns and see everything's connected. And you start to detach from your dogmatic views of everything. Politics, religion, race, gender, religion.
All this divide and conquer bullshit. All this stuff. We're in this country and you're in that country.
And that's part of just like the human mind, putting people in boxes for our own sake of comprehending them. Like it's easier for me to group people as a race for the sake of my own brain capacity.
I agree, but only within the constructs of the Matrix, though. You know what I mean? Like I think that's just modern society doing that.
Yeah, because of how the brain works.
Like when you're living in nature, you're not comparing an oak tree to a pine tree.
No, but you might make a distinction between them based on what they look like, right?
Okay.
Right, and see, those are.
But that's more discernment versus judgment, correct?
Yeah. The judgment
there's no hierarchy to it. Is my point.
No,
There's a difference between an oak tree and a pine tree, but one's not better than the other.
Yeah, but
because you inherently understand it all works together and it's all.
But
connected.
you categorize them all as trees, right? You don't go like this is that specific.
Yeah,
tree,
facts. I'm just saying, right. Which is cool. I think we're saying the same thing. Like, Asian, black, white, Latino, whatever. They're different, but not on a hierarchical scale. So it's cool that they're fucking different. Yeah, it's a good thing.
That's like I was reading a quote when you. This is like an LBJ quote from way back, but it had to do with like the perception of race and inequality. But it's just like if you can convince the worst, like the lowest of like the white person, he's better than the best black person.
Yes,
you're gonna it's
a good control.
He'll pick your pocket
mechanism.
You get your pockets picked because you won't see that virtue is absent of color and race. It's just the type of person, right? Because I was reading a Reddit page. It was like Ask Reddit, so you can ask anything people post. It's like former racists of Reddit, like what made you change? And so there's two really interesting. I only saw a couple things.
I love this.
One interesting one was the guy was like in the army. He's like, it happened to me when we were under fire and I got shot down. Two white guys stepped over me. One guy actually stepped on my back to get to safety, and one black guy picked me up, carried me all the way through, and held my hand through the whole thing.
Yeah, bro.
And that changed it. Another one which is messed up.
That's a fucking great story.
Another one which is messed up is a kid grew up in the backwoods, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. Literally got taught in school.
Oh yeah.
I bet you haven't heard this one though, right? That slavery was called the Great African Migration. That's what they called it in school. That slavery was the Great African Migration. I wonder what they call the Native Americans.
Like a cruise ship. They got on.
They were just moving.
There was free drinks. It's a fucking buffet.
Just like the Native Americans.
Next thing you know, they liked picking cotton. It was a good time for them.
We just gave them what they wanted. We were helping them.
We're helping them.
Help me, help you. But he said like it took like decades of just unprogramming.
Yeah.
Because he got taught that as a kid.
Unlearn that bullshit.
Right? But then that's not his fault though, right?
No, that's the thing. It's the system's fault for teaching that
That's
bullshit.
an education, right?
Because who's to even say it's the teacher's fault? Because what if they were brainwashed? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why it's hard to point the finger because...
It's hard. That's the point. Because maybe the teacher does know the truth and they're saying that to brainwash the kids.
Or maybe they're brainwashed.
But maybe they got brainwashed when they were young and they believe that shit.
Yeah.
Because that's the point. Whatever you believe is reality.
I think it's mostly the former based on the 20-80% thing we're talking about. Like if you look at what's the musician Daryl?
Well, I was going to say Daryl Davis. Exactly. I was going to bring that up.
He talked to they were like super emotional because they didn't realize
they didn't realize.
Those are pure ignorance.
They admitted they were ignorant to the fact, and they started crying.
Yeah.
One of his points was every single mass murderer except for like one is all white guys. Yeah. He goes, does that make you a mass murderer? Yeah. And the guy was like, fuck, I never... Because he goes, every black guy I know is stupid or a criminal, or both. And he goes, okay, every serial killer I know is white. Does that make you a serial killer? And he goes...
That's one thing I picked up when I was a kid when I noticed that, because like the black is a stereotype, like rob the convenience store, guns in the streets. But then you look at the list of just crazy white people, and it's like... And that's something to judge, but maybe what's going on that those poor white people are being messed up and the way that they're getting messed up because we think that the black people are messed up, but there's clearly something wrong going on here, right? And some sort of oppression of whatever, right? So it's on both spectrums. Like that virtue is void of color, right? It's just a human nature thing. When we put labels, power hierarchy, definitely for sure.
That's my problem.
That is definitely a real thing. No one's denying that. But I think a lot of it's just ignorance. There are a lot of people that are listening to it and following it are ignorance. Right?
So I like that's why
the troops on the ground of ignorance, right? The troops of ignorance,
right? That's what I was going to get to. But the generals know the difference, and they're pushing that.
Some of the generals don't even know. I think you got your fucking
the
High Council.
The High Council knows the difference, and they divide and conquer for sure. That's my point. That's
because of money.
Because of money and power, and that's the cool thing. Why we talked about, not coincidentally, the 1%.
On each spectrum.
On each spectrum of the evil powers that be know what they're doing. Yeah. But of the 80% people that are sleeping that either think they're going to die of a virus from a 99.9% success rate, or that black people are lesser, or Asian people are all those things, sometimes they don't even know because they were just taught that shit.
Yeah. And so like that's where you're
critical thinking, personal responsibility,
and like you're not going to reach those people by like resist, because they're already in the space of resistance. So like you resisting that creates more resistance, and that's where like I feel like the Tao comes in, where you have to kind of like be open, because they're coming at you like a bull, and like you play Matador and let them see what they're actually doing, right? So
wow, well that's what Daryl Davis did. You wizarded me like 3 times
aggressively, right?
No, he couldn't, bro. He sat down with them and he said, "Let's talk then."
Yeah, and they both at one moment they both like heard a noise, and they both thought each other was the one
reaching for a gun or something.
But it was like what, like an ice machine?
An ice machine dropped the ice in,
and they both started laughing,
and they flinched, and they were like,
they saw in that moment, like, oh shit, we both thought the same
fucking thing about
for
the other guy
for the opposite reason, but for the same thing.
Because he's like, all white motherfuckers are
enemies. Yeah, he's probably got a gun.
Like, they both got a gun.
I'm going to meet the leader of the KKK. Like, oh, fuck yeah.
And the leader of the KKK already believes, not knows, that black people are whatever. I don't even know what they think. Like
not even human. Some people, some versions, just lesser human.
See, but that to me sounds like some jealousy shit of like they're taller, more muscular, bigger dicks. So they're gonna. I'm gonna use my power.
You've seen what was it
to keep you down?
What was that movie by Jordan Peele? Wow.
Oh yeah, Get Out.
Get Out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that jealousy kind of.
Right. It's like I got
because we like what you guys can do.
Facts. Right. Which is basically the fucking Kanye West story.
Yeah.
Yeah. He even said that, didn't he? Say that? I think he was like either tripping or like he's like Peele wrote that shit about me. He's like, that movie's about me.
I could see it,
dude. He's like, that's why white women love me.
I could see the Kardashians brainwashing poor
Kanye. 100%. Already have.
But he broke free.
But now he's breaking free. You free your mind, free yourself. That was awesome. So that's the law of vibration. Everything's everything.
Detours.
So next is the law of relativity, right? So everything is defined by its relationship to other. The only thing that there is self and other, right? So you can't experience something unless it's in relation to something else.
Yeah, when you say like, oh, that's up, it's only because you're below it. Or
yeah, I'm only sitting here because you're sitting there.
Exactly. Right.
If you were sitting there, then you wouldn't be sitting there.
Yeah.
It's all relative.
Yeah, someone's only tall if there's someone short.
Oh, that's a better... right. Oh,
because
5'11".
If we were all 7 feet tall, then nobody would be short.
Okay, a woman who's 5'10", you would say that's tall, right?
Yeah.
But a WNBA bitch that's fucking 6'4".
Right.
Because relative to the average woman is 5'3", 5'4", whatever the fucking average woman is.
Yeah.
But a WNBA girl, now you're not so tall anymore, have you?
Yeah, it's different. It's like when they show the picture of like...
Because you're not relatively
They show like, what, Kevin Hart and The Rock, and then The Rock and Shaq, and Shaq and Yao Ming.
Yes!
Like,
and then Yao Ming and like Brian Shaw, like a strongman, who's not only 7'2", but twice as wide.
Massive, right?
Perfect example. All human beings, relatively different. Got it. So then, the law of cause and effect, right? So every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Newtonian action physics going on there.
But also quantum, anything you do is coming back
equal
at you.
And opposite, yeah.
So the universe is a boomerang. God is a mirror. Whatever you're putting back.
The universe is in Australia.
Perhaps.
Dingo
ate my baby. That's so funny when you do the accent and then it's
that's
like...
North. That's Mike Dundee right there.
And some people were... Dude, no. The best was when you were doing...
unlimited steak and lobster. Only at the Red Lobster.
Outback Steakhouse and shit. And
shrimp and lobster special.
And it makes it sound like a fancy restaurant and shit.
I know.
It's just an American chain.
Oh, God.
Oh, dude, I love Australian people. It's so good. It's the fucking best country. How is it? It's a country, an island, and a continent. All at once. The only one. And everybody lives upside down.
Yeah.
Do they drive on the other side of the road?
I think they do.
They drive
I thought it was just like England or whatever. But
well, that's probably who fucking paved the roads and killed all the natives.
English slaves is what they, Australians.
That's what they do.
English prisoners, whatever, right?
That's probably why they're so cool.
Yeah, because they were like the chill, like they weren't just like part of like the the royals and the rich
Right, they're like, we're breaking the rules against the reptilian overlords, and then they're like, throw them on an island halfway across the world, and then it's a fucking party now.
It was literally, we're gonna make a prison island. That's what the British
literally
said.
Was
prison island. That sounds like a movie, like a bad movie.
Jokes
like
on you.
Right?
Jokes on you. Australia's awesome.
Yeah.
So cause and effect. So that can be in a quantum realm of what you are putting out is coming back to you, or that could be on a Newtonian physics of equal force provides equal and opposite force.
Yes.
Right? So then you have polarity, the law of polarity, which is basically duality, right? You can't have hot without cold, day without
Positive
night,
and negative.
positive and negative is what it basically boils down to on an energy
Electromagnetically, right?
Precisely. There's the law of rhythm, which basically is everything is in rhythm. So everything is cyclical. The stock market, different cultures.
Rotation of the Earth.
The orbit around the sun, the ever expansion and contraction of the universe itself.
Heartbeat.
But right. So everything is cyclical. Everything. That's why I always keep reminding people. Everyone's like, "Oh, we're gonna nail 2 laws in one thing right now." Everyone's like, "Oh, 2020, 2021 is the worst time ever." Whatever. It might even get crazier and worse, but that just means there's an equal and opposite good times coming.
Yeah.
And you're like, "How do you know that?" Look back in history.
After
the Great Depression was like the Roaring '20s and shit. There's booms,
and then,
right?
What the Renaissance followed, like the big period of.
Well, no, there was the Black Plague, and then there was the fucking Renaissance came out of that.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Dark Ages.
Everything is cyclical, so I'm looking forward to the good times.
People freaking out. They're looking at this much of the spectrum.
And you need to zoom out more.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when you're freaking out, you're not looking for the lessons in growing. This is the obstacle is the way right now. I'm pumped right now. Yeah, I'm not panicking.
Yeah.
I'm pumped that there's adversity. Shit was too sweet for too fucking long, dude.
Yeah.
And that's how, once again, I forget the name of the book, but it's like good times make soft men, soft men make bad times make hard men. Yeah, and then
like,
that's a cycle
we were talking
right
about
there.
This yesterday. Like comfort is like the illusion of peace, but you can only realize real peace in the state of discomfort, because that's what real peace is unconditional, right? Regardless of the conditions, now I'm at peace, which is part of what meditation, spiritual practice is to be at peace.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Not laying on the couch eating chips is not peace.
Being comfortable is like, I think I'm at peace because things are easy, I don't have to do much. But are you really at peace?
But when grenades are going off and you can stay centered?
Because how many people who are living comfortable lives are anxious, depressed, suicidal, on drugs?
All of them.
All of them, right?
All of them.
So is that real peace?
No. That's complacency, comfort, sloth,
which we'll get into.
Laziness. See, I'm bobbing and weaving in this motherfucker, right? So everything is cyclical. So that just shows pattern recognition, being in the present moment, but zooming out to learn from these cycles of history. Even like, you talk about ancient Egypt, and then the Greeks, and then the Romans, and then Chinese had an empire, and their empire seems like it's coming back real quick. Then the Great Britain had an empire, right? And America, it's approximately 200 years, if you look in the history books, of when these empires fall. Not always, but hey. What are you
Based
doing?
on history.
Based on history. Then you have the law of gestation, right? Which is thoughts are the seeds of manifestation, right? So first you have a thought, then it becomes a feeling, then it becomes a belief, and then if the action steps that you take over time and conditions will manifest into physical form.
Takes time. Gestation is things. It's a baby. Baby's in gestation. That means it's in the process of growing. It takes 9 months. It's
a wee baby.
Which isn't even that long of time relative to, right? Relativity to the length of your life, the universe, right?
Dude, that's perfect. And that just like the relative age is always like, when you're like 6 years old, you're like, summer is so long, it's amazing, because it's like 1/6 of your life. Is that
right?
year. Now your birthday comes every 5 fucking minutes. Because it's less relative of a year to your life.
Yeah.
Loosey-goosey math there, but you get it.
Yeah.
The 7th law of the universe is the law of transmutation. Okay, so once again, everything is energy. So transmutation is alchemy, taking some type of energy, transmuting it into something else.
Yeah.
Negative, positive, whatever you want to call it, that's on you.
Yeah, sometimes even when I'm doing creative stuff, I put on certain binaural beats or certain sounds, and the sound really just helps me get more creative into a visual sense, because I'm a very visual person in terms of what I create, and vice versa, right? So
huge.
And
that basically is the glass half full metaphor.
Yeah.
It's the same energy, it's the same water, it's the same glass. It's whatever perspective you're looking at it. I want to say that glass is beautiful. It's definitely half full. It's amazing. Yeah. Some other person with the same exact glass is saying it's half empty, and I'm pissed that I didn't get to drink the other half and whatever.
Because right now, if you look at a glass, which these are clear glasses, a glass has water at the midpoint, right? Who's to say that that's not? That's if the most objective point, that's just a glass with water in it, right?
Right.
That's the base point from which you observe it, right? Whether it's full or not is based on relativity, right? Perspective, and what you're projecting onto it. But with zero projections, zero relativity in a vacuum, it's a glass with water in it.
So we've also seen people where it's this full to the top, and they're like, well, that's not a full glass. And then we've seen me with a drop in there, and that's a full fucking delicious glass, and I can't wait to drink that shit.
Right, yeah.
C'est la vie. Such is life. So that's the 7 laws of the universe. We're going to go deeper on each one of these topics. We're just spitballing you right now and having some fun. And then this is going to be a 7 series. Next time we're going to go deeper into the chakras and whatnot. So we got 7 laws of the universe, okay? But you also have the 7 deadly sins. Oh, we're not even halfway through the 7. So you thought your mind was blown already? We haven't even keep your blowed to yourself because you don't want to be pre-blown.
That's true.
Because if your mind is pre-blown, then it can't be blown.
Yeah.
You know, like if I send you a video and I'm like, this is going to blow your mind.
Spoiler alert.
See? Spoiler alert.
That's true.
Expectations. I've ruined a whole bunch of shit myself. So you got the 7 deadly sins, right? And some people are like, that's the word of God. Every single word is true and fuck everybody else doesn't believe that and they're fucking the enemy. And then you have... Those exist, and then you have angry atheists who say that's all bullshit, and they throw the fucking baby out with the bathwater.
So atheists and your dogma on both sides.
That's the polarity. Dogma on both sides, right? Nothing is true.
Yeah.
Or every single word is true, and God said that shit, and we're gonna rock.
That's another like relativity one. Like atheists only exist in relative to Christianity or religion, right?
Facts.
Atheists don't exist if religion doesn't exist.
Right.
Atheists need religion.
It's like creative, right? Well, yeah, right, exactly. Something has to exist for you to deny it. So you're agreeing that it exists, the idea and you're denying it the same way that other people are believing every word. But we're here to look for the lessons and the practicality of it, right? Yeah. So the 7 deadly sins: lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. So lust, maybe sticking your private parts all over the place and being not as disciplined.
Being a sex addict,
right?
Porn addict.
Gluttony, maybe doing too much of a lot of things, specifically food, but too much consumption.
Unconscious consumption.
Yes, thank you. That's beautiful. Greed, being a little too selfishy.
Yeah, self-absorbed, me.
Yeah.
Led to a lot of stuff.
Sloth, basically just laziness and complacency, which is fucking disgusting. Apathy. Yeah. Yep. Wrath is like your anger. Rage and anger. That dude. And some of these...
Table flipping.
If you feel them, you're welcome, because that's a gift.
You observe it.
That's my trigger. And then they're mad at the person that triggered them.
Yeah.
Instead of being grateful that they learned something about their growth and healing potential.
Well, they may not.
They're not. That's why awareness is the first step. Exactly, I'm just pointing that out. How funny is it? You triggered me. Fuck you. Yeah. A lot of times I'm like, thank you. Well, you got to take a breath.
Yeah, it's like, you made me hit myself. How dare you? Stop it.
There's plenty of self-slappers. Yeah. So wrath is... anger and rage. Envy, that's not cool. It's not the same as jealousy, but there's a lot of overlap.
There's like I want what you. It's like looking outside yourself, right? It's an external out, right? It's a lack mindset.
Yeah, good point.
Right?
Good point. Because once you understand there's abundance.
If he has that, then I don't have enough. Right?
Yeah, that's a zero-sum game, and that's bullshit. Because there's abundance aplenty in the universe. There's no way out of that. And then there's pride, which is kind of like what? Arrogance?
Yeah, that'd be arrogance, right? And there's like a balance with that, right? Because like people say take pride in your work, right? Which is like a positive thing, right? It's like do a good job, but then it's also like
be proud of yourself.
Pride comes before the fall too, right? It's arrogance, right? The Tower of Babel, building that shit up, thinking we can make a tower to God, and God's like, nice pride there.
Slow down. I knocked down your sandcastle. I drank your milkshake. Yeah. All right, so then we already know that everything in the universe has a law of polarity. So you can't have 7 sins without having 7 virtues.
You don't sweat. No one talks about those as much as the other.
No, because that's the thing. Okay, so let's back out. Let's zoom out here for a moment. When we're talking about religion, we are not talking about dogmatic religion. We are talking about the keys to the universe and human consciousness. All right. So these are codes hidden that have been hijacked by the people that control the matrix power systems, whatever, the powers that be. I'm not even going to say Freemasons, Illuminati, reptilian overlords, whatever. I could go on and on and on. I said Freemason, whatever. All these secret societies, whatever, billionaires. The powers that be. They've hijacked religion the same way they hijacked money, the school system, and all these other things to control the population for money and power and greed. Right? Yeah. Honestly. So that's why religion preaches fear, and that's why the media preaches fear. Even school and politicians, of course. Yeah. But even school is like, you're gonna, if you don't get bad grades, you're gonna get detention, all this shit.
And that's parents. They're unconscious. Like I was told my mom if I didn't get good grades.
And once again, maybe the parents are doing the best thing they can. They're doing their best, but the system is fucked.
Yeah, it's just generational conditioning.
Yes, generational conditioning.
How many people slap their kid, beat their kid because they got beat?
Hurt people,
right?
Every time. But it's up to us to become aware of that and break that cycle. Because when you heal yourself and your generational traumas, you heal yourself 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. 7.
You say 7 twice there?
It's a big deal. I said 7 times today. 7, since we've already broke down that religion, we're looking for the lessons in it. We're not believing every word, but we're also not throwing away the whole thing. And there's a lot of mysteries and riddles and lessons to be learned in there. The word 7 is the most used word in the Bible. It's in there 735 times.
707.
I mean, I read that in a book. So you got 7 virtues. And that's why they preach only the fear stuff, because it's if you do these 7 sins, you're going to hell. But then it's like you're tiptoeing around what not to do.
Yeah.
But we already know about the law of gestation. So if you're thinking fear, if you're thinking lust, if you're thinking greed, that's what happens. Even not thinking it.
Yeah, well, it's paying attention too, right? You're paying attention. What does that mean? You're paying your most valuable commodity, which is your attention, to something. Here's lust. Here's take my attention.
Exactly.
You can only pay attention to one thing at a single time.
Yeah. So let's give you the virtues. So instead of focusing on lust, you can focus on chastity, which is more discipline with your wieners and lady parts. Yeah. Right? Temperance, which is self-control instead of gluttony. Yeah. Right? Charity over greed. Because, dude, once you know that there's abundance, and once you know that we're all one and helping someone else is akin to helping yourself. I mean, how do you feel when you do charity or when you help someone?
It feels fucking amazing, dude. It's amazing.
I don't think there's a better feeling.
It's great.
There's cookies and orgasms and laughs and cat videos on the internet, and that's cool for a second. Yeah. But helping somebody, dude, whew.
That's a double. That's because it's twice the love.
Yeah, it's double the love.
Just...
Double the flavor, double the love. Yeah. All right. So, charity over greed, diligence over sloth. Right. So we're now once again discipline.
Discipline.
Instead of being lazy. This is the one that hit me before. Remember, was wrath.
Yeah.
And what is the lesson? Patience. And that you don't think that they're opposites or whatever, but those resonated with me immediately. Yeah. I said, what's the definition of wrath? I'm like, that's anger. And you were like, yeah, rage and anger. And I'm like, ooh. And then I remembered immediately, before we even went over the virtues, that's what helps me out of rage is patience.
Well, we even talked about in that last little pranayama segment, right? Like if I called you a poop face.
Yeah, you need patience.
The rage is the first thing you feel.
Of course.
But patience is taking the pause, taking the 10 breaths. That's waiting. That's being patient.
That's how you win.
Right?
It's fucking beautiful. And all I do is win. Right, so now I'm working on it. So I like that. Whoa, breakthrough for myself. Let's rewind it.
On the mic breakthrough.
Instead of me perpetually saying I'm working on my anger, I'm going to now start saying I am working on my patience. That is beautiful.
That's nice. Now you're focusing on the patience.
Patience is the win. You ain't got to worry about the sin.
Oh,
I know. I'm that good. That's why we have microphones.
Copyright.
So then, yeah, right. Instead of envy, kindness. And if you think about that one, that makes a lot of sense too. Because why should you be envious, jealous, and pointing fingers at motherfuckers?
That's amazing. You have success.
Bro, root for other people, and you feel good too. Because this is not a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
If they're winning and you see them winning and you cheer for them, the universe knows you want to be winning and puts you on that path.
Dude, like one of the main feelings I feel whenever I get into like a space of higher awareness is not that like, wow, I'm so super aware. It's like, wow, look how wonderful everybody is, and look how much potential everyone has. Dude. when you start to see the potential in other people,
Oh.
that's like the best feeling to me. Like that's I start writing like ideas for people that I acquaintances. I'm like, I have the best idea that could change your life, and like I barely even know
just
them.
to help them, right? I know. I see the path you're on.
Yeah, and I see like how much good potential you can do. That's amazing to me, right?
And that's not even fixing someone that's broken or whatever. Like, I love the path that you're on.
What you're doing is awesome. Like you just
keep going. I got an idea for it.
Right? Yeah.
Keep doing that shit, bro.
That's what social media is a positive for. When you see someone doing their thing. Like someone just messaged me and they're just like, I love the way you're speaking. I love what you said and your logo and what you mean and what your purpose is, and it's really inspired me to do my own writing. I was like, shit.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. And then they'll be like, well, I do a little writing here and there, and I really love it, but I'm too ashamed or whatever. I'm too shy to do. And then you're like, yo, keep writing. Write every fucking day. Write every day. Right. Well, of course. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. But I always just encourage, like, what's your favorite thing? Stop. Throw everything else in the fucking garbage, in the fire, flush it down the toilet, and do that thing.
Yeah, man, I was listening to Alan Watts again, and he was just a little clip, and it was, like we spend like our whole lives working for this fake thing of money, and we live miserable lives just to get it. Instead of like, I'd rather live a short life doing what I love than live a long miserable life.
Sure.
Right? That's everybody.
Sure.
That's everybody.
Alan Watts is always like, this is the thing, but what about this?
Yeah, he's like, you wanted to stop desiring, but now you're desiring to stop desiring. And then you're desiring to stop desiring, and then but
that's like, fuck.
And that's like when you get into the philosophy of all that. It's like paradoxes are everywhere because of that polarity, right?
Right.
That's the nature of it.
And it's just to get you to think. And what's our last one? Instead of pride, you want to have humility, right? So we said arrogance.
Stay humble.
Stay humble.
Right?
Right? There just so happens to be 7 continents.
Really?
You know what I'm saying?
No Eurasia action going on there?
Nah, I mean, they drew an imaginary line. Right. Same thing with Americas, but still. Yeah. We'll call it 7 continents.
And even visually, they're definitely broken up that way.
Sure. Where they drew the lines doesn't matter, but they're broken up nicely into 7. There used to be the 7 seas. Obviously, there's more, 5 major oceans, and there's more than 7 seas. But that used to be an ancient thing. Same way there was in ancient times 7 planets, because before you had a telescope,
you couldn't see Uranus.
I can see Uranus. That's the first time we've done like a super corny joke.
That was pretty corny.
This is as corny as it gets, and it's played out. But I don't think you got to take it.
I think it's been so played out. Like I haven't heard that joke in a long time because it's been so played out.
Oh, nice, bring it back.
It's like vintage
cyclical
now, right?
Cyclical. Oh, a vintage joke.
It's like high waisted pants. When that came back, like that went away for a long time. Now everybody's got a great butt because of high waisted pants.
Dude, I love that. So that's the law of rhythm. Everything is cyclical.
There we go.
That is absolutely hilarious.
So what we gotta do is get on top of the next thing that's coming back. I'm thinking crop tops are coming back.
Well, that's how you take advantage.
Leg warmers are coming back, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's how you take advantage of the cycles in like the stock market, real estate, blah, blah, blah. You zoom out a little more and look at the patterns.
Well, I knew, I'm not going to break this guy's secret, but I knew a guy who used to trade who...
Secret time. There was math to it.
The Fibonacci sequence would use the golden ratio, and he was telling me, like, dude, it's insane. I don't know how he did it because I'm not that kind of math wizard like he is.
Right, but
the stock market stuff, but he used it, studied it, and it was real.
Everything is math and everything is real.
Yeah.
Everything is real. They tell you shit's not real.
The only thing that's not real is the shit that's real.
Yo, the shit that they tell you is the shit that's not real. Like artificial sweeteners and GMOs, like all this shit. Like man-made shit is not real.
It exists in reality, but is it real?
Right.
Is your reality real?
So, you cannot see without a telescope Uranus or Pluto. So there was 7 planets.
Yeah, Saturn's the last one you can see, and you can see it pretty...
And you can still fucking see that motherfucker.
Pretty bright.
Right? You got 7 holes in your face, like we mentioned. And when the first time you hear that, you're like, what?
Wait, talking about holes in my face?
Yeah, in your cranium, there is 7 holes and openings.
3, 4,
2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ear holes, and a mouth.
Yeah.
For most people.
It just makes me think of an Office episode, but I'm not going to break it.
And that's how, other than your skin for the sense of touch, that's how you perceive and feel things with your nervous system.
Yeah.
Sight, smell, taste, hearing. It's a beautiful thing. All right.
Forms of seeing, or feeling, smelling energy.
Do you think it's a coincidence that there are 7 days in the week that God or the Creator created and then rested on the 7th day? Quotes here, but just so we know. Yeah. All right. So what if we take and we'll do some ancient Chinese wisdom. We'll do some
Norse mythology.
Speaking of Norse mythology, Sunday is dedicated to the sun.
The goddess Sol. That's right, goddess in Norse lore.
Monday is Moon Day.
Yeah.
Okay, this is real. Tuesday is Tears Day, which is the god of war.
Yeah.
Okay. Wednesday is Woden's Day. That's Odin. You've heard of Odin.
Go watch Thor Ragnarok.
Okay. Well, did you say Thor? Because that's Thursday.
Yes,
is Thor's Day. This is real, folks. Thor's Day. You're gonna Sunday, Moon Day, Tears Day, Odin's Day, Thor's Day. Friday, Freya's Day, or Frigg and Freya or sisters.
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. Saturday is like Seder.
Saturdagen.
Yeah,
something
right, in the Norse, right,
I can't say it
which
properly.
is like a mischievous thief. Therefore, it's Loki's Day.
Loki Day. Yeah.
And if you know about Loki, then you know about things. All right. So that just, if that didn't blow your mind right there, you need to do some Googling. Like, these guys were just making shit up. Sound like comic books.
Yeah.
Oh, a bunch of comic book nonsense. Sunday, Monday, Tears Day, Odin's Day, Thor's Day, Freya's Day, Loki's Day. 7 days a week. Then, real quick, 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit. And you're like, what the hell is the Holy Spirit?
Religious stuff going on.
Religious, but we're taking the spirituality out of it, filtering out the politics.
Well, it was spiritual first.
It was spiritual first.
Then
It got
became
hijacked
religion.
by politics.
Yeah.
Right. And then it became religion. Then it became... It's the grossest telephone game there ever was.
Yeah, like it's because it was probably originally just like word of mouth stories, then it got written, and then it got translated.
Right. They were like, here's the fucking truth. And then the next generation was, here's the truth that I remembered.
Yeah.
And then once it gets written down,
Then it was like,
wait a second.
here's my truth. I'm going to take out this half.
Right. Boy, these things serve me better if I don't tell
We should
them.
all be one. No.
No, I should be the king, and then we'll do the king.
Priests are the only ones who can talk to God.
And then they should pay us to talk to God, right? On Sunday, when they worship the Son of God, because it's the Sun God, and I'm King James, so now I get my name on the front of the Bible.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Guys,
Hashtag
but
legacy.
if we go back and rewind the hijacking and the politics of everything and go to the spirituality of the original texts, there is 7 gifts. Gifts from the Lord, okay? Wisdom.
Ooh.
Okay?
Experiential knowledge.
Experiential knowledge is your wisdom. Understanding.
Yeah.
Compassion.
Yeah. Empathy is part of
Empathy,
understanding.
compassion, understanding. There's counsel.
Yeah. Which
Right.
is seeking help or support from a higher self or a higher power, right?
Love it. There's fortitude, courage, strength. This
yeah.
is important. Knowledge.
Knowledge, which is the kind of like not material, but like the intellectual
Intellectual
mind
knowledge
of the world.
Piety, which is service to others,
Yeah,
and
devotion.
Devotion.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's fear of God. So when they say fear God,
What a word to get twisted, man.
what a word to get
The worst
twisted.
word to
That
get
is the
twisted.
ultimate oxymoron, because if God is love and truth, fear is the opposite
Fear of
it.
love.
So what they mean by fear,
Sounds like a lot of people in the world today fear
bro,
love.
that's the problem.
We all have
They're living in
relationship issues.
fear.
We fear
Right.
love. We wonder why intimacy issues are a thing.
But God, truth, and love are synonymous. Therefore, what they mean by fear God is respect
wonder,
and awe and wonderment. Exactly.
Which is, when you get to if you've ever talked to God in any kind of meditation, it's not like, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, because it's not a guy. It's not a white guy in the clouds
you
with
get
beard.
that humility, virtue real quick. It's real quick. Like, I am small as fuck, and I am grateful for everything.
Less than a grain of sand.
Yeah. Drop in the ocean.
Dude, yeah. Exactly.
Drop in the piss bucket.
Less than that. And that's the thing. You're not a drop in the ocean. You're an ocean in the drop. All right? So that's the 7 series. 7 is kind of a big deal. On the next one, we're breaking them down individually, and we're coming to you with some big-time guests. That's a little teaser. It's our first teaser. It's our first real teaser.
Tease. Ask me about my winner.
Big-time guest coming on Monday. 7 series chakras tomorrow. Love yourself. Peace.